The things on the scorecard are what matter. And we just keep beating these things home. And eventually, it starts happening. And if it happens and you don't recognize it, why would they do it again? All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD Podcast. This episode will go to the heart of your day-to-day life. The roller coaster that you're on, the losses that you experience. I will tell you why they're fine, why you got to keep grinding, why those losses will stack up to wins. We have the closing thought of the episode. This is the Ultimate OD Podcast. Here we go. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD Podcast. Thank you for the likes, the listens, just everyone that's participating in this community. I hope you're getting something from this. If you're not, send me a message. If you are, send me a message. I want to hear where you're at, what you're doing, how you're growing, how this is helping you. And like I said, on most of these episodes, this is a selfish endeavor because it always helps me take a step back, realize what's going on in my practice. And if you look at where I started back in 2020 to where I'm at now, you can see the progression of me as a business owner. Me as my mental mindset has shifted, and it's still happening. It's still going on. And one of the things that I just wanted to put out there is that in business, especially lately at my office, I feel like it's always 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And if I'm going to be honest with you, it a lot of times feels like 1 step forward and 2, 3, 4, 5 steps back. Like it's such a roller coaster. And it's just things that we're constantly trying to do. We're refining. I have to remind staff of things that we've talked about. We've had office meetings about things. It's like, why are we still doing this? We send out memos. We try to meet one-on-one and talk to staff members about what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. Conversations are constantly being repeated. I think I have an understanding with how we schedule, how we do certain things, and then come to find out it's broken. It's not working, right? A lot of tweaking of flow, handoffs, execution. And what I found out is that when you're growing, it doesn't feel clean. It always feels like a roller coaster, like you're behind. Okay? That it's not, how are you going to do this? You hear me all the time. I want to scale this, get my new doctor in, get him replacing me work 1-2 days a week at this office, start another office. But sometimes at the end of the week, I look at my office manager, I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, and you want more of these offices? Really? Like, one sometimes seems like it's uncontrolled. It's not doing it. But then I take a step back. I remove myself from the trees, and the forest is growing. All of a sudden, I'm up 30%. That was the past year. I was up 30%. Even year over year, we grew 30%. We're still up 10%. My processes are improving. My staff is getting better. The systems are working. It's because I have to remove myself from the day-to-day operations. The day-to-day is always messy. And that's where I was stuck for the first 14 years of practice in that day-to-day. And I could only get so far because it was overwhelming. It was exhausting. When I talk to, some of my other mentors, colleagues, friends that are in business, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to do this, this, and this. I'm like, how do they have the energy? Well, it's easier to have the energy when I'm not in clinic, when I'm not dealing with the staff. I know exactly what we're going to do, how we're going to get there. It's easy then. It's when you're in the day-to-day trying to make it happen that it gets a little messy. And that's the trap that we fall into. This is why growth feels so slow, is that as an owner, as a CEO of your practice, we think that growth should feel obvious. It should be easy. It should be simple, linear progression. Right? We do this, this happens. We just keep doing this, it happens more. But in reality, you have multiple moving pieces. Patients that you have really not a lot of control over. Staff members who have more control over but are still independent people that have their own lives that they're figuring out. That may not know your mission, your vision, what you're trying to accomplish. There might not be great communication or trust, things you're working on. They make the progress not linear. They make it, like I said, that roller coaster and refinement. My goodness, the things that you're trying to fix and work on are so repetitive. You keep saying the same thing over and over and over again. It's not CEO, it's CRO. You're the Chief Reminding Officer. All I'm doing is reminding them of this, talking to them about that. But I'll tell you this right now, if you aren't saying it, no one else is. Even if you have an office manager that is dialed in, buttoned up, believes in the mission, if you're not telling them on a daily basis what matters, it's going to get skewed. It's going to go a different direction. And that's why I think compounding is so frustrating, is because you can't see it or feel it when it's happening. And to get to where I want to be, where I think you want to be, is compounding is what matters. Think about your staff training, office flow, developing an associate, just improving capture rate. How do we check a person in more efficiently? How do we answer phones? Like literally conversations that I have of how to answer a phone. Are you working on it? You guys know this. If you ask, I'll send it to you. I have a scorecard that I talk about on a weekly basis. The things on the scorecard are what matter. And we just keep beating these things home. And eventually, it starts happening. And if it happens and you don't recognize it, why would they do it again? I know it sounds like preschool, kindergarten-ish, but that's how it operates in my office. You might have something better, but this is what I'm telling you. The secret to getting where you want to be is not flashy. Results lag behind the behavior, behind the effort. Okay? Improvements are so incremental that it's really hard to see until you take a step back if you're tracking the right numbers. If you haven't been tracking, you don't even know if it's working. What are you doing then? Right? And I always tell my office manager this, that when things happen, that's a feature, not a bug. Part of our business is that things are going to break, things are going to happen. There's going to be a fire that you have to put out. How you handle that is what matters. And you got to have faith that the seeds you're planting are well before the harvest. Okay? This process of growing your business to where you want it to be is just like farming. It takes so many variables. And there's things that happen. You get a drought. You get a flood. You can't control those things, but you still keep planting those seeds and get the best crop you possibly can. So I know you're probably thinking, all right, it's messy, it's not linear, but you did say that you were up 30% last year and you're still up 10 to 11% this year. How am I doing it? Right? And I wish I had some big formula. I'd sell a book. I'd sell a how-to thing. But it's not flashy. And that's the thing that kind of sucks for me sometimes is when I talk to my people at my conferences like P3, or I talk to my other colleagues and they're like, how are you doing what you're doing? I want to have some big, bold thing. But it's really just, I have my one-on-one meetings with staff members on a weekly basis. I meet with my office manager weekly. I have department meetings weekly, right? I go over these things. And I'm talking about better behavior, trying to be more consistent, aligning with what my vision is, why we're doing certain things, reminding them, and just creating better systems, showing them how they impact the business. And it's not massive changes that have made me better. Now, there's big levers that you're going to find out when you're early into this that you pull and you're like, that was awesome. And you go back to the next meeting or talk to your colleagues and you want that big lever. Every time I go to a P3 meeting now, I'm looking for a big lever and it's not anything. There's nothing big anymore. It's little tweaks and refinements done consistently over time that make the business grow. And making sure you have the intestinal fortitude to see it through. Because a lot of us will come back from a meeting and we're hyped up and the staff knows they just got to wait you out. Whether it's a week, maybe a month if you're really motivated, but eventually you'll give up on it and you'll have something new you're chasing and they can go back to doing it the way they did. The little things don't feel important until they start stacking on top of each other and building. I am so much further ahead in my culture and my systems and my staff morale than I was a year ago. But I still, in certain weeks, wondering, what am I even doing? Is this working? Why is there another fire? Why am I having the same conversation? It's the cost of doing business, my friends. You want to have a great scalable office, you just got to do the little things over and over again. And you can't have too wide of a plow, if you will, right? You got to be narrow. Only so much bandwidth that you can handle, you and your staff. The things that I focus on, and these are things that you have to start asking yourself is, when, and this is a bunch of metaphors. I know I'm jumping between forests, farming, now there's a train coming down the road, but where does the train derail? Where does the system or process break? Where is there inconsistency in what we're doing? And the way I fix that is not big rah-rah speeches. I used to have a big speech, like feel awesome, really proud of myself, and then we'd go about the rest of our week and nothing would happen. Now I know that you give that speech, you better have a system in place, a plan to make it happen. So it's not big speeches, massive changes. It's guardrails, having people be accountable to certain other people or to a system, a checklist. Accountability matters. And constant reminders matter. And it doesn't have to be you. It can be office manager. But are you aligned with your office manager? Are they rowing in the same direction you? A lot of times I hear from office managers that the doctors aren't on board. Doctor has a vision or something that they want to do, but they're nowhere to be found in the implementation of it. They want to see their patients get out of Dodge. And the office managers, they're on their own trying to put out the message that they've been told without any support. They're flying solo. Not going to work. Those people are spinning. And remember that perfection is not a reality. The systems that I have in place are built so little problems don't become massive problems. The little problems will still be there, but the checks and balances by holding people accountable to the system stops it from derailing. Little things that we have going on right now, I'm just like, these are not big issues. We've done really well in where we're at. We're further ahead than we were, but we're starting to veer off course. And because I'm monitoring it, I have a check where there's checks and balances, I can get us back on the straight and narrow. And at that point, we're doing the right thing more often than not, and it's causing growth. And again, I wish I had something flashy, big, like a 5-step program, but it's just knowing what matters and consistently doing it across the board. And that's the unfortunate thing, is that a lot of leadership is repetitive. A lot of leadership is reminding people of why you're fighting the fight. Because the vision that you have for the office that you can see so clearly, what I've realized is no one else can see it like you. And it fades really stinking fast. Your job is to keep painting that picture, dangling that carrot, showing them where we're going and why we're going there, how it helps them. And the lessons that I've gathered is great cultures need constant reminders. great execution, constant alignment, and training. You can never assume consistency. That is something that is not going to happen without intentional effort. And with that, I mentioned this briefly, but I am not strong enough to be that visionary, creating that goal, setting the path, and boots on the ground, making sure it's happening on a day-to-day basis. That's where you need an operations person. You might be the operations person and someone else has the big vision. Great. But you have to work together. And in my situation, I, as the doctor, am the CEO, right? My office manager is my boots on the ground. She's my enforcement person. And we are working together because when I have a change, when I have something, I will run it by her first. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. This is what I'm going to talk about in department meetings. And then you just keep reinforcing that. And what we found is when we keep the message to like 3 things for 90 days, we're just focusing on these 3 things for 90 days, we will get so much further ahead than having a million things done loosely. So you have got to align with your boots on the ground with operations. Same expectations, same messaging, same accountability. Who is your hands and feet? If you don't have that, create that. And then you might be big enough that you have department heads. You might be small enough that it's a mentor, or you have to be that person if it's a 3-person office, right? But realize that you're going to graduate, you're going to level up to a position where you can't do it all. Who are you grooming to be that manager, that hands and feet, that person that is the epitome of your vision, that will help keep everyone aligned and accountable to the direction that you want them to go? Leadership has to be united. A divided head of the house, top of the pyramid, is going to make everything below it chaos. Get on the same page, work together. So if you take anything away from this message, it's remembering that flashy is not the name of the game. It's not big rah-rah speeches. It's quite boring, right? It's repetitive. It's revisiting the basics, repeating your expectations, tightening up your systems, refining behavior. Excellence is boring. You get too much excitement on your hands. You are changing gears too often. Keep it simple as. You know it. I found that there's only so many things that we can do as an office. So once a quarter, I'm going to have a meeting about core values. We are now in a phase where we have 7 behaviors that we do on a daily basis that are going to help us lower our exam-only rate. I don't care about the exam-only rate right now. I'm focusing on the behaviors. I'll revisit that, and we talk about dry eye and ocular surface. Those are my 3 meetings consistently. Every week, hit the key points of the scorecard, revisit the 90-day mantra, whatever we're working on for that 90 days, we're revisiting. Are you guys good? Do you understand this is what we're doing? This is how we're going to do it. And refine anything that needs to be tightened up. Make sure that you're not getting to the point where it's a massive, huge mistake and keeping them small and minute and getting everyone else back on the same page. A constant reminder of where you want to go and how you want to get there. And through reading books, listening to podcasts, a common thread that I hear from the most successful people is that the best revisit the fundamentals time and time again long after average Joe gets bored with them and tries something new. The person that is constantly reinventing their business, starting something new, a new fancy thing, are always behind the person that's doing the same thing over and over and over again. Think about the best franchises, chains. They're good at what they do, and they know their circle of competence. The days are long, but the years are short. You're going to feel frustrated. You're going to feel alone. That's what this podcast is for. This is what the Ultimate OD Network is for. Talk to each other. Talk to us. Talk to me. You're not alone. I'm going through it. But if you stay consistent, keep doing what you're doing, you're going to take a step back. Revenue's going to be up. Capture rate's improving. Staff's performing better. Your associates are thriving. And patients are happy. Compounding has been happening the whole time. You just have to see it through to reap the rewards. Okay? So, be boring. Don't get flashy. You're getting better. You may not see it in the moment, but take a step back. I promise you, if you're staying consistent with what you're doing, you have a aligned leadership message, you will grow. That's what I got for you. We'll have more for you next week. Where has the time gone? We're to the closing thought of the episode, and there's 2 things I read that I really want to share with you. Actually, 3. I'm going there, right? Actually, I'm going to stick to 2, save the 3rd for next week. Now you got to come back and listen. So 2 things. 1, everyone wants to win until they realize how many losses it takes. And I'm losing on a daily basis, right? Wins happen, but I have not went through a day where I can think that everything was perfect. We did everything exactly how I wanted to. Now, we've had really stinking good days. I see issues with the office, and I'm like, man, when are we going to get this right? I got to fix this. And I look, and we've, from a revenue standpoint, have dominated in 3 hours what used to take me 2 days to achieve. Like, literally have got to that level. But it's really hard to see that when you're in the day-to-day. And this leads me to the last little sentence I'm going to read to you, a thought. Everyone knew it was impossible until a fool who didn't know came along and did it. I like to say, those who say it can't be done needed to get out of the way of the people doing it. And that's why you're listening to this. That's why you started your own practice. That's why we're better than corporate optometry, the other optometrists that just don't have the heart to take the risk to do it on their own. Not that they're bad. They can work with you and be part of the reason why private practice optometry is so amazing. But you gotta take the losses, and you gotta be naive enough to know what you can accomplish and not listen to all the haters out there that want to bring you down. Crabs in a bucket, just trying to pull you down. The Ultimate OD Network, us, we're the few, we're the proud, we're the people that are doing what they said could not be done. That's what I got for you. Dr. Lilly out.